Guess there's nothing worse than to find out you're a white woman.
She's so disappointed.
It's really disappointing.
Her mother was white.
Oh my God.
shame.
Oh my God.
The horror. History, and finds out that this is fantastic. She is descended from slaveholders. She's descended from slaveholders, and she's been apparently getting a lot of mail about her call for reparations because it turns out she's going to be paying them and not actually receiving.
Whoopi had always been larger than life. Her sharp wit and fearless approach made her a household name. But in her quest to push boundaries, she failed to recognize the consequences of her words. She built her brand on boldness, but that boldness had now turned into recklessness. As the lawsuits stacked up, it became clear that Whoopi's celebrity status wouldn't protect her. Instead of being untouchable, she was now fighting for her career. Her critics weren't backing down. They were taking her to court, demanding accountability. And among them, Joe Rogan stood out as one of her fiercest challengers. Rogan wasn't just another celebrity looking for revenge. He was a powerful media figure with a massive audience. When Whoopi targeted him, he didn't just respond with a lawsuit, he mobilized his supporters. His fans flooded social media, defending him and calling out Goldberg for her reckless comments. What could have been a quiet legal dispute quickly turned into a full-blown media war. As Rogan's lawsuit gained traction, the pressure on The View intensified. The show,
It's funny.
once a
She's so
staple of
wrapped up in
daytime
identity,
television,
and she
was
had
now
no
struggling
idea
to
who she
maintain
was.
its reputation. Sponsors began distancing
now we
themselves,
understand why she
unwilling
always
to be
makes Whoopi get the
associated with
coffee.
growing controversy. Major brands that had supported The View for years
Because
started
if she
pulling
is
their funding,
shaming
fearing negative
descendants
publicity.
of
The
this,
fallout
will she
extended
continue to
beyond
do that
Goldberg
when she
herself.
is now one
Her
of...
co-hosts, once united, now found themselves in an uncomfortable position. Some continued to support her, while others started to distance themselves, wary of risking their own reputations. The lawsuits were no longer just Whoopi's problem. They were casting a long shadow over the entire show. Tension on set became impossible to ignore. Discussions that once felt natural and spontaneous were now weighed down by the constant fear of legal consequences. Every word was scrutinized, every comment second-guessed. The energy that once made the View dynamic was fading, replaced by an uneasy caution that disrupted the chemistry between hosts. Behind the scenes, network executives were growing increasingly uneasy. The View had been a cornerstone of daytime.
New episodes of The View when she tries to pull the race card.
Yes.
And then she's like, America is racist. And then they're like, yeah, they might be racist, but they're not like slave owner racist. Like somebody that we
That's so true.
Yeah.
One thing, and I would have even actually not give her any, is she said, well, I guess that's just what they did back then.
Yeah.
She should have followed that up with saying something along the lines of, and I understand that that's a departure from the way I've talked about this before.
Television for decades, known for its bold conversations and strong personalities. But now, it had become something else entirely. A PR and legal nightmare. Executives worried about the long-term consequences. Would advertisers continue to pull out? Would loyal viewers turn away? And most importantly, was the show becoming more of a liability than an asset? As Whoopi's legal troubles mounted, discussions about damage control began. Some executives suggested issuing public apologies or carefully worded statements to smooth things over. Others debated whether Goldberg should take a leave of absence until the lawsuits were settled. But every option came with risks. If the network distanced itself from Whoopi, they risked alienating her supporters. If they stood by her, they risked being seen as complicit in spreading misinformation. Beyond the network boardrooms, the turmoil was affecting the show's production team. Writers, producers, and staff members found themselves caught in the...
in her defense, everyone has ancestors that did unspeakably horrible things. It's just that not everyone's ancestors have records tied to their DNA about it. Worried for Sunny Hostin's progeny in the future that do a DNA test and find out that they were related to a cast member of The View. And they're like, oh, it all makes so much sense now. Why I'm so stupid and fat.
chaos. Some feared their careers would suffer due to the show's damaged reputation. Others were frustrated by the increasingly toxic work environment, where legal concerns dictated every decision. The show, once a thriving space for discussion, was now a workplace filled with tension and uncertainty. The most telling sign of trouble was the ratings. The View had always been a ratings giant, drawing audiences with its mix of hot topics and strong personalities. But now, the
View hosts among the dumbest people on television.
Sunny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked and you went on stage with it and it's nothing
Just
there.
go for it. Yeah,
there's nothing there.
numbers told a different story. While some viewers tuned in out of curiosity, eager to see how Whoopi and the show would respond to the lawsuits, many others had begun tuning out, disillusioned by the show's declining credibility. Now, as the dust begins to settle, the big question remains, will Whoopi Goldberg learn from this, or will she continue down the same path? Will The View recover, or has the damage already been done? One thing is certain, this isn't just a scandal, it's a turning point. And for Whoopi Goldberg, the consequences of her words have never been more real. The View, once a powerhouse of bold opinions and heated debates, is now in the midst of a crisis. Over 30 defamation lawsuits have shaken the show to its core, putting its very existence in jeopardy. At the center of it all, Whoopi Goldberg, the show's most controversial figure. For years, Whoopi believed her celebrity status gave her the freedom to say whatever she wanted without consequences. From Elon Musk to the Trump family, no one was safe from her sharp words. But what started as fearless commentary quickly turned into reckless accusations that are now threatening her career and reputation. Whoopi built her brand on being outspoken, unfiltered, and unapologetic. People tuned in daily to hear her take on politics, entertainment, and cultural issues. She thrived on controversy, and for a while, it worked in her favor. But as time went on, her remarks became more aggressive, turning into full-blown personal attacks. She didn't just criticize Elon Musk, she called him out of touch and incompetent. She didn't just oppose the Trump family, she accused them of deep corruption. Even country star Carrie Underwood wasn't spared, with Whoopi claiming she secretly manipulated the entertainment industry. And when it came to Joe Rogan, she labeled him a dangerous spreader.
Citizen that has a policy. I mean, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from Spotify. He's got 11 million listeners. He's got $100 million, contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some sort of guidelines. How about a disclaimer on his podcast that says, this is misinformation? How about removing some of the podcasts that disseminate this misinformation?
They have.
And that's
misinformation. At first, Whoopi seemed untouchable. She had spent decades in Hollywood, winning awards and earning respect as a cultural icon. She likely believed her fame was a shield, protecting her from any real consequences. But she underestimated the power and influence of the people she was targeting. These weren't just celebrities, they were individuals with the means to fight back. The first major blow came from Elon Musk. Whoopi had repeatedly mocked his intelligence, attacked his business decisions, and even ridiculed his personal life. But Musk, known for his relentless approach to critics, wasn't about to let it slide. He hit back with a defamation lawsuit, claiming that Goldberg's statements weren't just opinions, but outright lies that damaged his reputation. What Whoopi may have considered harmless commentary had now escalated into a serious legal battle. Then came the Trump family. Whoopi had always been a vocal critic of Donald Trump, but this time, she went too far. She accused the family of criminal activities, claims that had no basis in fact. And if there's one thing the Trumps are known for, it's their willingness to fight back. Their legal team wasted no time filing a lawsuit, determined to hold Goldberg accountable for her accusations. But perhaps the most unexpected lawsuit came from Carrie Underwood. Unlike political figures or tech moguls, Underwood had largely stayed out of public controversy. However, when Whoopi suggested that she secretly controlled aspects of the music industry, Underwood decided to push back. She filed a lawsuit demanding millions in damages, stating that Goldberg's baseless claims had harmed her career and reputation. As lawsuits mounted, Whoopi found herself drowning in legal trouble. But one of the most shocking cases had nothing to do with celebrities or politics. It was something far more unexpected. It started when Whoopi accused a Staten Island bakery of discrimination, claiming they refused to serve her because of her political beliefs. She said she was denied cupcakes as an act of prejudice. The accusations spread quickly, sparking outrage and even threats against the bakery. But when the bakery finally spoke out, the truth painted a completely different picture. Their boiler had malfunctioned that day, making it impossible for them to fulfill orders. Politics had nothing to do with it, but the damage was already done. The bakery suffered intense backlash, and their business took a major hit. That's when Joe Rogan stepped in. Known for calling out misinformation, Rogan used his massive platform to highlight Whoopi's reckless accusations. He didn't stop there. His legal team filed a defamation lawsuit, arguing that her statements weren't just false, but actively harmful to innocent people. With more lawsuits piling up, The View found itself in an existential crisis. The legal firestorm surrounding Whoopi not only tarnished her credibility, but also put the entire show at risk. What was once a platform for spirited debate had now become a battleground for unchecked accusations.